Morning, Jeff.
What are you expecting to see today? Really, we need to see more of that confidence, don't we, that they showed in that opening quarter?
Yeah, they'll have to start like they did yesterday, and they'll have to put together 4 good quarters of basketball. You know, they cannot afford to have one little quarter or even part of a quarter that they, you know, so every possession is going to be key. And, you know, the guys just have to put together a complete game today.
You're nervous about this.
I am a bit nervous.
It's all or nothing.
It's all or nothing, you know. There's a lot riding on this game. There's the quarter-final spot, and there's also the chance there, you know, if they get through this game, to get placed 6th or above, which would give us another qualifying berth for the Olympics from the Oceania region. So a lot riding on this game.
Yes, it's an anxious time here. Imagine what it must be like in Indianapolis right now. It is one thing to play like the Tall Blacks did yesterday when you come out feeling you have nothing to lose, as you would do when playing the USA, but it's another thing to come out and play like that when the pressure is on and the expectations are different. Now, the Tall Blacks won praise from the USA after yesterday's game, and in the first half, and in particular the first quarter, the Tall Blacks were playing a system that took the Americans a while to work out at the Conseco Fieldhouse in Indianapolis.
But it's a wonderful, wonderful stadium. Home of the Pacers.
And home of Shear. Shear's going to be playing here the day after the World Championship. So, and Little Bell Well. If you're into rap there, Bob, Little Bell Well is also going to be here.
Well, I wasn't into rap, but I did go to the Rib Festival a couple of days ago. They've had this wonderful ethnic food festival, the Rib Festival. There are about 20 rib barbecue outfits from around the country showing their wares. It was delicious.
I'm sure there's some Little Bell Well fans out there.
19-18, Kiwis by 1. Wallace takes it to the hoop, and Kirk Penny gets up to rebound it. The Americans are a little bit rattled here, Jeff. It's 2:37 left to go in the first period, and one of their characteristic slow starts, but the slow start is really due to the Kiwis' good play here. Penny from the three-point line. That's it!
Oh, nothing but the bottom of the net, Kirk Penny. And once again, the offense goes through Pero Cameron. He's found Kirk Penny out there free as a bird.
Well, that's good. Penny came off the pick. The Americans not quite as tenacious on defense yet as some of the other teams have been, so the Kiwi three-point throwers have been able to operate a little bit. We got a charging foul. Rob Hickey, a blocking foul. At second on Rob. They must have caught Wallace coming along the baseline, trying to set a pick on him. That's 2 on Big Rob.
And as Michael Finley goes out of the game, they bring in Sean Marion. And, of course, you know, this guy is an absolute leaper.
New Zealand on an 8-2 run here. The last couple of minutes inside. O'Neill. He's so quick, he puts the ball on the floor. There's only one way to stop it, Jeff, and that's a guard has to come from high up, and as soon as the ball's on the floor, go swoop in and get it.
And that's exactly what Dylan Boucher tried to do. The ball went to the floor, O'Neill bounced it once, pivoted in the post, and Dylan tried to take a swipe at it. And the referees didn't agree with Dylan's swipe, so consequently, O'Neill's on the foul line. Look at him, Bob, please. Yes.
Yes, I was watching it all the way. Now I'll talk up O'Neill's free throw shooting here and see if I can make him miss another one. Nice motion there. Bend to the knees.
Oh, brilliant, Bob. Yeah.
Well, I'm doing my bet, Jeff. Come on, it's 22-18. New Zealand with a 3-point lead, 4-point lead. Paul Henry takes it straight to the hoop, and look at O'Neill get up and knock the ball away. Very tough for a little guard to penetrate when the big guys are hanging around the basket. They're used to doing that in the NBA. O'Neill, nice pass underneath, but the ball's knocked out of him.
By Dylan Boucher.
And once again, Andre Miller is introduced to Pero Cameron's elbow. This time in the mush. 22-18, 1:17 left in the first period.
We've got a mismatch. There's the mismatch. Pero Cameron.
Boucher takes it inside. It tosses it over his head. What a nice shot. Good body control, left-handed reverse layup to Dylan Boucher. 24-18. Sean Marion can't do anything with it. Wallace, nice spin on the baseline and puts it up and in.
Of course, Ben Wallace was the NBA Defensive Player of the Year, showing a bit of his offensive skills there.
Yes, indeed. Just because he's the best defensive player doesn't mean he doesn't have the offensive ability as well.
one Mr. Jordan had the offensive and defensive abilities
Kurt
at one
Penny
stage.
doesn't go down. Reggie Miller throws it away. Penny comes up ends Andre Miller, and it's going to be a call. This is a ridiculous call.
That was an incredible call. Here's Jermaine O'Neal telling Paul Henardy he can't come in there on that replay. There, look at that on the replay. There was nothing in that, and you've got to feel sorry for Kirk Penny. That was a shocker.
I dare not say any more about that. New Zealand 24, USA 20. 31 seconds left. Andre Miller on the line, and the look on Tab Baldwin's face says it all. Andre Miller played at the University of Utah under Rick Majerus. He virtually led the team to the NCAA Finals, 1998. Makes his first. Here's a guy who's shooting 60% from the floor in the tournament, Andre Miller. He's being replaced now by Baron Davis.
Now, we talk about, look at this body on this guy here, Baron Davis. We talked about this at the beginning of the show, the upper body strength, and Baron Davis uses all of that upper body strength that he's just showing there.
6'3", 225 pounds, Baron Davis, and watch him play defense. Very quick, and one of the most spectacular slam dunkers around. Boucher gives it off to Henare. Puts up the three, falls a little bit short, and a pushing foul is going to be called against number 10. No, it's going to be Baron Davis.
Baron Davis on Dylan Boucher.
Whoa. Baron Davis caught with both hands in the cookie jar that time, and that puts Dylan Boucher on the line to shoot a couple of free throws. 24-22, 14.9 seconds left in the first period. Kiwis off to a great start here against the United States.
And you can't say anything more than that. And, of course, Dylan Boucher nails another free throw. He's got over those air ball problems that he had earlier in the tournament, Bob.
I didn't see that one, Jeff.
Yeah, that's right. Keep looking down the U.S. bench there.
I'll keep my eye on George Karl, the United States coach.
Oh, we mocked him by talking about it.
Wallace pulls down the big rebound. Time ticking down. Watch Davis. He'll start his move with 5 seconds left. Well, he pulls up and shoots a three. It doesn't go down. Sean Marion gets a long rebound, and he misses. And the Kiwis at the end of one period lead 25-22 over the United States. I love saying that, so I'll say it again. 25 New Zealand, 22 United States.
Sounds pretty good no matter how many times you say it. It was looking pretty good for the Tall Blacks at that point, and while they were just 6 down at the break, they were outscored 62-20 in the second half. But make no doubt about it, New Zealand's been getting attention and winning respect at these World Championships. This morning, a chance to really make a point on the international stage with a win over China. The countdown continues to the start of the match at 9:30. Stay with us. At this tournament that they've come a long way in a short time, and this morning's match underway at 9:30. We'll talk about the Chinese in a moment, but let's just look back again to yesterday in the game with the USA. Chris Tupu, again we saw that hot and cold nature of the Tall Blacks.
We saw a great first half, and then we saw the Americans really step up in the second half defensively, and the New Zealanders struggled again. So, but the first half, it was fantastic to see the guys running their offences. The assistant American coach said after the game that the Americans really struggled to work out what they were doing. So that was, full credit to the staff, the coaching staff. Tabs put in a great system, and we saw that system in action yesterday, and against the best, it was fantastic.
Well, we've spoken about the offence the Tall Blacks have been running. What about defensively? What are the positives that you saw coming out of the game? Because we did lose by 48 points after all.
I think, since Sean Mark's been out, players like Dylan Boucher have had to step up. We've seen a number of guards being rotated into the lineup, Judd Flavel getting a bit more time, and also Rob Hickey. So I think we've coped, that's a positive thing, we've coped with the lack of size which Sean gave us, and we've been able to do other things which has really helped the team.
All right, well, let's have a brief look at some of the plays from the game yesterday. The USA doing what they had to do in the second half and overcoming New Zealand 62 points to 20 in that second half, but plenty to talk about early on. Yeah,
great start there. Jones getting off to a flying start. Jones, Penny, all stroking the ball extremely well in that first quarter, and some hot shooting.
Kirk Penny there, and Rob Hickey, well, he's a big man who has to step up, doesn't he?
He does. Him and Ed Book are really going to be asked, you know, they're going to have to match up with Yao Ming today, so that's going to be a big ask for them. Pero Cameron again, his leadership is vital in this game.
Well, it's no wonder that Pero Cameron has attracted the interest from the NBA, as we see now the Americans really starting to find their range, but New Zealand striking back. But that block, terrific defence.
Oh, Paul Pierce from the Boston Celtics, huge block. And we see here again, this is where they thought they could have got a foul, but this was really the start of the American onslaught. Paul Pierce here again.
That sort of blocking, though, that's what we've got to overcome against China today with those tall guys defensively.
Yeah, we're going to have to be smart and use our smarts and quickness around the basket.
Well, you can see there the rebounding figure, 52 to 32. It was a tough day on the boards.
Yep, and again, the guys are going to just have to hustle. Players like Dylan Boucher just getting in there and mixing it up. Those sort of players are going to be vital for us today.
So the fast break points 20 to 2 in favour of the USA yesterday. Second chance points 21 to 8. And in those two areas in particular, the Americans had a dominance.
Yeah, and the Chinese, they like to get out and run the ball. So we're going to have to watch out for their fast break. But at the same time, I think New Zealand, we have a very good fast break. We've got some really exciting guards in Mark Dickel. So we need to get out and push the break, obviously, against a team like China.
All right, a player like Mark Dickel. It was a very difficult day, as you would expect, against the USA. Let's get some comment from one of the Tall Blacks, a man who has certainly caught the eye with his live wire displays in Indianapolis, a man at the heart of what the Tall Blacks have achieved so far. His nickname is Sparky, and it's been easy to see why. Mark Dickel looking at today's big matchup with China.
Oh, we couldn't be any happier. I mean, this is a first for every one of us on the team. You know, I mean, we'd like to say we'll be back here every time, but we realise this is a, you know, it's a great opportunity, and while we're here, we're trying to make the most of it. So tomorrow night, if we can get that win, we'll make the top 8. So everyone on the team's pumped up and ready for tomorrow night's game.
There's some crazy fans that have travelled over here even for a couple of days. They're sitting there courtside yelling, screaming. What's that like for the team?
I mean, it's great. You know, I mean, it lets us know that we're playing for more than just ourselves. You know, we get emails every day from all the friends and family back home, and it's great.
It's Mark Dickel talking with Paul Hobbs, and he and the rest of the Tall Blacks now anxiously awaiting the start of this game against China at 9:30. Let's just recap on the results from yesterday, the second round of matches in this second round. And in Group E, Spain 87 over Turkey 64, Brazil, Angola 86-83, and Puerto Rico beating Yugoslavia 85. In fact, these are results from day one of the second round, the first lot of matches. And you see there New Zealand beating Germany, or going down to Germany by 20 points. The USA playing Russia, easy win there, and Argentina beating China. China, in fact, struggling in this second round so far, and they'll be looking to make up for that against the Tall Blacks. So they were the early results from day one. Now, Mark Dickel and the other members of the Tall Black squad are very appreciative of the support they're getting, not only from those fans we see in the stadium, but all the messages from home as well. We're about 10 minutes away from tip-off. In the commentary seat again is Bob Montai. Bob, good morning to you. Let's talk about the Chinese first of all. What's been your impression of how they've been going about their work?
Well, good morning, Jeff and Chris. The Chinese look very, very good, but they do play a little bit looser style of basketball than New Zealand does, and I think that might be their downfall. Now, you've got to remember, this is the 6th game in 7 days for both of these teams, and I think the Chinese big men might be getting a little bit tired. Mind you, everybody's a bit tired. It's rough, tough basketball, and it's non-stop. But I think if we can get the big guys moving around a bit and get a foul or 2 or 3 on them in the first half, it could play into New Zealand's hands. And once again, I have to say, New Zealand will be wanting to stick with their offensive pattern. They'll want to be very composed, very patient against the height of the Chinese and grind it out, wear it down. Doesn't matter if we win by 1 or 21. We'll go through if we win.
That's for sure. And the Tall Blacks, Bob, what's the feeling in the camp there?
Well, I think they're looking very good. Quiet determination. Jeff Green just made the comment that there are a lot of talk out there as they're warming up. And they just have that calm, composed look the Tall Blacks have ever since they beat Australia. And this is a team that believes in themselves. Now, both teams, the Chinese and the New Zealanders, are coming off 2 pastings each. China lost by 24 to Argentina and 27 to Russia. The Kiwis, of course, lost by 20 to Germany and 48 to the United States. So in some respects, you could say that whoever gets up off the mat the quickest and the best is going to win this game, and I think the Tall Blacks will do it.
OK, Bob, thanks for that. We'll be back with you shortly for your call on this morning's big game with Jeff Green. Yes, from all that we've seen over the last week, we know the Tall Blacks will leave it all on the court today. Going into the tournament, the stated aim was to make the second round. Now they are one game away from making the quarterfinals. What a game we have to look forward to. The Tall Blacks playing China. Stay with us. You're with One Sport. What a great week we've had following the Tall Blacks, enjoying the wins over Russia and Venezuela, enjoying the positive experience of watching this New Zealand team taking on and being competitive with the best teams in the world. Right now, though, all that effort, all the hard work, focused on the next couple of hours as the Tall Blacks get set to play China. This final second-round match at the World Championships. Let's join our commentators Bob Montai and Jeff Green.
Well, good morning, New Zealand. Welcome, Jeff. This is going to be a big game for us, and your thoughts on the matter. I've kind of delivered my little look into the crystal ball here. What do you think?
Well, I've got to say, Bob, this is probably bigger than the Australian series that we played last year to get here. This is probably bigger than the Russian game and the Venezuelan game. This is it for New Zealand basketball. This is an opportunity to get into the last 8 at a World Championships. And it's going to be absolutely marvellous. And I just believe that the team are going to do it. I believe the team are available to do it. And that's exactly what we're about to do. And of course, they're just introducing the teams as we go at the moment. But you know, Bob, the anticipation is magical. Like, you know, I know the team is ready. I spoke to a couple of the lads early this morning, and I know Big Pero Cameron is absolutely focused. This is the game that they're keying, and it's life or death after this. Are we going to live or are we going to die?
Yes. Well, another team found themselves in a win or take the first plane home situation. That was Yugoslavia, and quite surprisingly, they were playing Turkey just before this game and had to win if they were going to go through to the quarterfinals. Now, this is a team with 5 current NBA players and another guy who's just been drafted into the NBA. And Yugoslavia came out, and you could see the look in their eyes. They weren't going to give that game away, and they hammered Turkey 110-78. Now, I hope the Tall Blacks are just kind of watching the last few minutes of that game, because Yugoslavia showed them no mercy, and when the chips were down, the old pros stepped up and did the job. But they're a little bit lucky to be there, because they stumbled early on in this tournament. Now, the Tall Blacks have had the opposite scenario. They really played brilliantly in the first round to get into the second, and of course they've run into a couple of buzzsaws here in the second round in Germany and the United States. But this is the game we've been targeting. This is the one we know we have to win. And we keep saying that every game becomes a little bit bigger in terms of history, importance, and all the rest of it. But it's true now. Here we are poised to enter the quarterfinals of the 2002 World Basketball Championships, and the only thing standing in our way are the Himalayans.
Certainly are. There's also 2 gentlemen that if we can outdo them, and that's Yao Ming from China and Menki Bhatia from China. Now, you know, both of them, they call them the Great Wall. There's one component of that missing, Wang Zizi, but those two just are formidable. And you and I have watched a number of the Chinese games, and when those two get going, they are just so hard to stop. However, having said that, we know the Kiwis' determination, their guts, their execution offensively, and their tenacious defense can pull them through this one.
Oh, definitely, Jeff. And I was looking at the summary statistics so far. And for the Chinese teams, there are 3 players in double figures. Yao Ming is averaging just over 17 points a game. Menki Bhatia on 16.5, and Wei Dong on 10.2 games per 2 points per game. But you have to look at the height. Ming 2.26 meters, Bhatia 2.10 meters, and Wei Dong 1.98. Now for New Zealand, Kirk Penny averaging almost 17 a game. Pero Cameron at 15, and Phil Jones at 13.5. And Pero wouldn't quite be 2 meters tall, and neither of the other two. That just gives you a little indication. The scoring average is about the same, but then you look at the height differential, but we played them 3 times recently in China without Sean Marks, and we beat them 1 of those 3 games. In fact, the last one. So there's a little bit of a seed of doubt, I think, in the Chinese players' minds, Jeff.
Yeah, and I think you're right, Bob, because, like, you know, we start even with this game, and the Chinese know that we have beaten them once on their home turf as well, which is counts for a huge amount. You know, the Chinese have come to these World Championships with big expectations from not only themselves but from the world media, and they haven't delivered. Whereas the Kiwis have come to this championship with no expectations and have delivered. You know, they're 1 game away from the quarterfinal. So is China, mind you. However, I think the fact that with the Chinese playing here in the States, the Kiwis, I think you'll find that the people in the stadium, and I'm just looking around, there's not a lot of Chinese support. Now, previously, the Chinese have had a large number of people supporting them. And so, you know, maybe the Chinese people in the US here have decided, well, you know, giving up the ghost, and the Tall Blacks are going to win, and haven't shown up.
Well, that'd be nice. I know the Kiwi contingent is here. They'll be here in strength. And they've been practicing their chants and cheers. The pubs have been pretty lively at night around town with the Kiwis. Here we go with the haka. Wonderful stuff, Jeff. The Chinese continued to shoot down way down the other end of the court while the haka was going on. I don't know if that's a good sign or a bad sign, but maybe they're taking the Kiwis a little bit lightly, or maybe trying to out-psych us slightly.
Well, I've got to say, Bob, the last time that a team did that was the Russians and the Venezuelans, and we won those games. So, you know, maybe that's a bit of an omen. And, of course, the interesting thing there was the 2 referees were just absolutely enthralled in it. They were standing there absolutely mesmerised. So, you know, there's another omen, Bob.
Well, that's a good omen, Jeff. I have said a couple of things about referees the last couple of games, and maybe they're going to be rise to the occasion as well. In the other game on back at the RCA Dome, Spain is leading Brazil. Now, Brazil seemed to stumble through with no shortage of good luck to 4 straight wins, and they lost yesterday, and it looks like they're headed for their 2nd loss, but they'll certainly go into the quarterfinals.
Certainly are, but Tab just told the team, destiny is in our own hands. We've got 40 minutes to prove ourselves.
That's right. It's up to the Kiwis. If they win, they're through. I spent about an hour this morning. It was like working through a tax form, trying to figure out the draw here and all the permutations and combinations. Not a happy job, but I finally decided that the simplest thing for everybody is just for the Kiwis to have a good, sound, resounding win. That'd do it. Here we go. Yao Ming, 7'6" tall. Controls the tap. I'm a little surprised by that, Jeff. Not really.
Ed Book giving up about 8 inches. Yeah, I'm surprised as well. Why didn't you jump in?
Ball goes low. Now, the Chinese have very good support players. We've talked a lot about their big men. Number 10, Li Nan, makes the first 2 points for China. Sparky Dickel brings the ball up very quickly. Ball goes off the Chinese player. Good little point guard going against Dickel. Let's go Xiao Yen. Xiao Yen, number 4. He's played a lot of minutes in this tournament, Jeff. I hope he's a bit tired.
Yeah, we hope so. And of course, the other player to watch is number 6, Gong. He is, you know, my pick of the Chinese anyway at this tournament.
Dickel makes a good move along the baseline, kicks it out to our 3-point expert, who takes it into the paint. Now Pero feeds Ed Buck. Ed tried to jam it, missed the stuff, gets his own rebound. And the ball is contested by Pero Cameron, one of the Chinese players, and the referee gives the ball over to New Zealand.
Yeah, and that's the aggressiveness that we need to show from the Kiwis. Ed Book going for the slam. He should have gone for the two-handed slam, then he may have got the foul, but that was a good positive start.
Just put it on the glass. This time, little hook shot as he's backing in, a kind of a running backing hooky.
Yeah, I can't even describe that one, but it's 2 points.
There'll be a big smile on Hugh Dimmick's face. Hugh, one of the best exponents in past years of the hook shot New Zealand's ever seen. Baseline drive, it's kicked out. You see a lot of that sort of basketball, and that's number 10, Li Nan. He's got all of China's 5 points so far. 1.5 minutes gone. China 5, New Zealand 2 inside. Kirk Penny. He's going against number 8 at the moment, Hu Weidong.
Oh, that was a great move by Kirk, and he's got the offensive board.
Kirk Penny's saying to the ref, we've got to have the 2 points, and the ref looks at him and signals, basket is not good. The foul came before the shot.
And we've said it all along. Oh, here's the three-pointer by Li Nan, but Kirk Penny is so strong in the post-up, and Tab has used that quite extensively this week.
Well, he's quick as well, Jeff, so he's going to have a mismatch. He's going to be a much taller player usually guarding Kirk Penny, and if he can go around a big man, he can draw the foul or get to the hoop a little quicker. Ed Book misses a three-pointer.
And that's good because Ed's shooting the ball outside. He has to bring Yao Ming outside of the paint. And, of course, there you go, the NBA star, or the future of the NBA. Yao Ming gets called for travel.
That's right. First time he's handled the ball, and that's good too. Almost 2 minutes gone in the game, and Yao Ming finally gets his hands on the ball. Dickel kicks it out to Kirk Penny. Little fake. Yao Ming got his hand to that and swatted it against the glass.
Just another fly.
We'll see a bit of that. Li Nan misses a shot, and Yao Ming pulls down the rebound. He's going to be fouled. I think it's going to be Phil Jones who picks up his first foul. We'll check it.
There you go. Yao Ming swatting the ball away from Kirk Penny on the way to the basket. And here, no one boxes Yao Ming out on the offensive glass. An easy putback for a man that's 7'6". And, you know, we started off well. We just got to make sure we put a body on him. And because I know from the New Zealand point of view, from the camp, they're saying that they want to put pressure on the Chinese in terms of physical pressure because they think they may be a little soft.
Well, that's right, and probably don't. They're counting on the fact that the Chinese team doesn't have the heart New Zealand does. They're relatively newcomers on the world scene. With these two big players, everybody thinks they're now going to be a force in world basketball. We've got a foul. Xiao Ben. Number 4 picks up the foul. Xiao Yen it is, number 4. He's going to be all over Sparky Dickel in the early parts of the game. There's a runaway two-pointer, and it's now a 10-2 lead. New Zealand falling behind. It's about a 8-0 run, 10-0 run at the moment to China. We hate saying those things, but it's a fact. Yes, that's going to be goaltending. The ball was on its downward flight.
Yao Ming just took the ball out of the air. He didn't even look to bat it away. Look at this. Perry Cameron goes down the lane. He puts it up. Yao Ming just grabs it out of the air.
It was a very good call from the referee. As you could see in slow motion there, the ball had started its downward flight to the basket. And once it does, it's hands off. Yao Ming, nice little left-hander inside. Ed Book just pushed right under the basket. Very, very big man to have to mark.
This is probably the most aggressive I've seen Yao Ming all tournament. You know, he's touched the ball 3 or 4 times now on the offense and scored.
Oh, I think he's relishing today. He doesn't have some 7-footer pushing him around. Now, Ed is tall, but not quite up to what Yao Ming has been pushed around by previously.
I'd like to actually see Pero Cameron taking Yao Ming and putting a bit more of that body weight down low on him and maybe giving Ed Book another assignment so Ed could come along and help out on the defense rather than because Yao Ming's just having a field day right now.
Well, Tab doing as usual, citing things from the sidelines, thinking, trying to figure out what's the next piece in the puzzle that needs to be inserted here. 12-4, China by 8. Backing inside, Pero Cameron uses that big body, and Ed Book almost gets a putback. Ed not particularly lucky early on here, missed a an attempted jam and almost had a nice one-handed jam put back there, but it just didn't go down. 6 minutes, 7 seconds left in the first period. From the corner, Li Nan once again.
And of course, you know, that's the third time China run that play, you know, where the point guard takes it around down the left-hand side of the court, draws the defense across. The defense goes under the basket. Li Nan is left wide open in the corner, and that's his, it's either the second or third three that he's hit already.
Well, you talk about players stepping up, Jeff. Li Nan is averaging just under 8 points a game in the tournament, and already he's got about 12 points for China.
And Ed Book just inside there. In fact, if you look now, Bob, Yao Ming is just getting over half court. He's starting to tire, so the fast start that's happened to this game may be taking its toll on Yao Ming early.
That's number 8, Wei Dong. He scores with a 3, and China rip into an 18-6 lead here. Kiwis in the crowd have gone a little bit quiet. Everything riding on this game. New Zealand being very patient. They're sticking with their moves as they have to. Underneath, Pero Cameron kicks it out to Phil Jones. We've got to have a 3. Just refuses to drop, and Ed Book picks it up. We've got a foul. It's going to be on Pero Cameron. That's his first. Pero using his big body to knock a few Chinese players out of the way for Ed Book to get the rebound, but he's called for the foul.
Yeah, he tried to take the Great Wall down by himself.
Look at that three-point shooting. Already, I think there are three three-pointers from the Chinese. That's 9 of their 18 points, half of the total coming from threes. Here's another good forward. That's number 6, Xiao Ben. 2.02 meters tall, and a timeout with 4:46 left in the first period, taken by New Zealand. They desperately need to sort out assignments. They're down 18-6.
Yeah, and I think, Bob, what we've got to try and show right now is, and of course, Juddy Flevel coming into the game here, which is quite an unusual move in terms of and Phil Jones going out of the game. It's an unusual move to have Juddy coming in, but as he showed yesterday in the USA game, he can shoot the ball. And if Sparky stays in the game, that means Juddy's coming in as a shooting guard, and Kirk Penny will go to the small court. The good thing is here that we've seen the Chinese get off to some fast starts in this tournament anyway. This is nothing to be too concerned about at this stage, I believe. I just think that we need to be patient. You know, we've got some good shots. We've got a couple of offensive rebounds. You know, so there's no need to panic offensively. I just think that our shots are not going. The shooting percentage of the Chinese right now is great. And defensively, we've just got to work out how to stop those three-point bombs, because they're the ones that are killing us right now.
The Chinese are a very good three-point shooting team. We talk about the height they have all the time, but they also have shooters. And Li Nan has put in 3 three-pointers already. 18-6. New Zealand fighting uphill already behind 18-6. But as Jeff was saying, there's no need to panic. If the easy shots that were really gimme putts had gone down, we'd be right in this ball game. It'd be about 18-12 or 18-14. And that would be a good start for the Kiwis.
Yeah, it certainly is, Bob. And, you know, I think the timeout Tad's taken just to settle the guys down. And, yes, we have Juddy Flevel coming into the game. And he'll take up his spot at the shooting guard position. And I believe that we just need others just to look to shoot the ball. And someone like Judd Flevel can shoot.
Well, Judd's got to play blinder. Somebody got to step up here. From a 2-2 tie early on, China has 8 unanswered points. Stephen G., our statistician, giving us all the facts and figures. Oh, another great shot from little point guard Xiao Yin. That's number 4. Sparky Dickel goes around him, kicks it back outside. Ed Book with a free throw. He knocks it down.
And that's the value that Ed Book does bring. And because Yao Ming, every time down the defensive end, Yao Ming's had to stay outside with Ed. So this is why we've been able to get 1 or 2 offensive boards early.
4:21 left in the first period. Missed Chinese shot gives New Zealand an opportunity here to cut into the lead. Dickel feeds it out to Pero Cameron. Baseline, Kirk Penny hesitates, then he puts it up. Just can't knock it down, not yet. We've got to get a couple of three-pointers. Light up that pinball machine and let's get rolling.
Yeah, Kirk got a good look at that basket just then.
Yao Ming, nice, soft, deft touch from the baseline, Jeff.
And of course, you know, he just looked over Ed Book then, just looking at the bottom of his head rather than looking at face-to-face there.
New Zealand staying with its pattern, which is exactly what they have to do. It might look a little bit slow, a little bit conservative. Judd could have gone right for the hoop. He should have put it on the glass and hoped that Yao Ming either goaltended or he sneaked it by him. Instead, he tried to make a dish off. The ball was stolen by China. The turnover gives them an opportunity to increase their 23-8 lead. Yao Ming, nice little baseline move, and Ed Book has to whack him to stop him getting the easy 2 points.
I think Ed's starting the tire, and we might see a substitution. Yes, we are. Rob Hickey's now going to come in. You know, I still go back to the point. I'd like to see Pero Cameron maybe guarding Yao Ming, and sure, he's going to shoot over. He's got a good foot on Pero in terms of down low in the post, but it's just that extra weight to push him around, because I just don't believe that Ed and Rob are able to push Yao Ming the way that he needs to be pushed away from the basket.
Yao Ming, a 70% free throw shooter, so he's not a guy you want to foul a whole lot during a game, Jeff. He's pretty competent. And I've seen him shoot a couple of three-pointers. Very versatile for a man who's 7'6" tall. 2.26 meters. Incredible height. Corner, Dickel, baseline. Kicks it outside. Pero Cameron, little fake underneath. Rob Hickey's got it.
Oh, good job,
Good
Rob
move.
Hickey. And he's Rob, first touch of the ball. Rob showing exactly what Ed Book did first touch of the ball. Got to go to the basket strong, put some pressure on Yao Ming to try and foul or block that shot. Good stuff, Rob Hickey.
Yeah, that's a good bit of in-your-face basketball. A two-handed jam from Rob Hickey. Well, we've got some players on the bench who are going to have to step up when they get their court time and play a significant part in this game.
Well, there you go. Rob Hickey did a great job of holding Yao Ming out, but someone else missed their defensive assignment, and they get an offensive board.
Yao Ming quickly double-teamed. He spins, goes baseline, and takes it to the hole. He looked like he was stationary. He was looking to the top to make a pass back to the point, and he noticed that Ed Book had kind of lost track of him, made a nice little quick move on the baseline and went straight to the hoop. Yao Ming has 11 points. Remember, he's averaging 17, 18 points a game it is. So already he's a big contributor. Sparky's pass didn't get in there, and Xiao Yan makes the steal.
Well, Xiao Ying actually made a great header rather than a steal. Straight onto the head. And of course, we can't afford those three-pointers to Li Nan hit another three-pointer just then.
20 points behind, 1:40 left in the first period. New Zealand struggling here offensively. It's a 30-10 ball game. China have roared into a big lead. Hickey is hammered on the wrist by Li Nan. Now there's a guy we got to get a few fouls on. He's got the hot hand for China. 4 3-pointers already in the game. There you see the little spin move from
Yao
Ming.
The other thing that's very interesting is Yao Ming is playing a lot of minutes here in this first quarter. You know, he's starting to show the effects of that. He's, you know, bent over down there on the free throw line, absolutely tired, and Mink Bhatia is not even looking to come into the game.
Yao Ming holding his right wrist also. He's just shaking it there. I wonder if he got hit on the wrist. That's his shooting iron. They might be fooling us, Jeff. They might be playing well within themselves, but they certainly punished New Zealand early on here, 30-10, as Hickey makes a free throw. 131. New Zealand back within 20. They're 19 behind at the moment. Little court pressure. A lot of hustle coming from Sparky Dickel. No one can afford to leave anything on the floor today. It's do or die if they want to continue in the tournament. Good steal.
Dylan Boucher doing what he does best. Good steal there. Now Yao Ming's gone to guard Pero Cameron.
Phil Jones makes a nice move. He's come back into the game for spelling Kirk Penny. Judd Flaveloff as well. Timeout is going to be taken by the Chinese team. There's 1 minute 5 seconds left to play in the first period. China 30, New Zealand 13.
I've got to say, Bob, that this is an interesting move by the Chinese. They've swapped defensive assignments. You know, now Yao Ming has gone on to Pero Cameron, and one of the smaller forwards is taking Rob Hickey. Now that's because of the aggressive nature of the New Zealand centres. Both Ed Book and Rob Hickey have shown that they're going to be aggressive. So China's obviously saying, well, we don't want Yao Ming to get in foul trouble. That could only suggest that Mink Bhatia, who's the other 7-footer and is built like the Great Wall, is perhaps not suiting up today, or perhaps may not play a lot. He is suited up, but he's bandaged all over the place on his left hand there.
Oh, I didn't notice that, Jeff. Maybe he may have broken a bone or cracked a bone in his wrist or torn some tendons or ligaments. But again, he shoots right-handed. And just having him in there would be an imposing figure to have to play against. But already New Zealand struggling, 30-13. It's a long way back. China has 5 3-pointers in the first period, and we've still got a minute to play. That's excellent shooting.
Yeah, but we saw this against the US the other night, didn't we? That China came out absolutely blazing from the 3-point line. And they did have a big lead over the US as well. I think it was something like 11 points at one stage. But as the shooters got tired, as the defense of the US started to ground them down, they started shooting short, and their shots weren't dropping in the end. And I believe this is exactly where the Kiwis are going to be coming from. As long as they keep on that defensive intensity, get that grounding down of the Chinese offense, I think you'll see the Chinese tire.
Well, we all hope so. Indeed we do. The Kiwis still look composed. They've been in this position before. It's just a pity they have set themselves such a huge task early on here. But basically, it's come from that sort of shooting. That is wonderful to see. 5 3-pointers shared between 2 players, basically, Li Nan and number 8, Wei Dong. Su, number 12 in the game for China. Here's another good shooter. I've seen him knock down a few, Jeff. Fourth quarter, Spain is beating Brazil. They lead 77-64. Not much riding on that game. They're both through to the quarterfinals, and Rob Hickey fouls Yao Ming. Yao Ming is on the line to shoot a couple. 80%, 70% free throw shooter. Very, very competent.
He certainly is, and of course he's going to bring that competency to the NBA this year with the Houston Rockets, and of course the #1 draft pick.
Number 15, Du Fen, into the game. 2.02 meters. Looks relatively small compared to his teammate there, but he's over 2 meters tall, and that's nothing to sneeze at. A lot of height in the Chinese squad. 32-13. Ming makes both of his free throws. He's 4 for 4 from the stripe in the first period. New Zealand want to finish strongly here. 42 seconds left to play. Peril Cameron puts up the left. Rob Hickey gets the rebound, kicks it outside to Sparky Dickel. Jones can't get up to 3, but he takes it inside, puts it on the glass, and it just refuses to go down. China tried to save the ball, but he obviously stepped on the line. I couldn't see it right down in front of us here.
But I've got to say, Bob, right there, Phil gave up an opportunity to shoot a 3. Now, that's not his natural game. You know, anytime he touches the ball, you know, that's been launched. But obviously the instructions are, let's try and attack the big men of China. You know, Yao Ming has played all of the first quarter, which is totally unusual.
They might want to get some fouls if they can early on Yao Ming. That'd be the player you'd want to target, but he can block shots with consummate ease, and he doesn't have to go near the player to do it. Dickel takes it to the hole. Boucher, little reverse layup, and again it doesn't drop. There are about 4 shots that have hung on the ring, haven't gone down. And Li Nan, there's the guy again. I think that's 5 3-pointers for him. 4 3-pointers from Li Nan. So at the end of the first period, China lead New Zealand by 22, incredibly enough, 35-13.
And of course, Bob, you know, the thing right there is, like, you know, we miss a layup down one end. We didn't get back in transition. The Chinese come back, launch a 3-pointer. But I say it again, I'm comfortable right now with where we are going, because I believe that the Chinese aren't going to be able to keep up this frenetic pace from the 3-point line, first and foremost. And secondly, I believe that Yao Ming had to play the whole first quarter, which is totally unusual for the Chinese team. He hasn't done this all tournament, and so I just believe that you know, I just hope that we haven't dropped back too far to be able to get ourselves back into this game, Bob.
Yeah, it's incredible. You talk about players stepping up, and we were hoping a couple of Kiwis would come off the bench and do the job. Well, Li Nan, his highest total is 14 points previously. In the game now, between the periods, Brendan Pongia putting on a little shooting exhibition. He wants to win another T-shirt.
He does.
He's already done it once. Kiwis 35 in arrears of China on 13. And a bit of a shocking start from them. Sean Marks has been pretty active in this break, talking to the players, trying to get their minds right, trying to get them more positive, trying to get them into the game. So far, Ed Book has 6. Rob Hickey 3, but for China, Li Nan 14 off 4 3-pointers and throwing another 15-foot jump shot. That gives him a total of 14, and Ming Yao has 13. That's virtually China's offense. 6 3-pointers, Jeff.
I've just got to make one observation there. With Book and Hickey scoring 9 of the 13 New Zealand points, that says one thing to me, that our outside shooters who normally do all the scoring are not hitting right now. And as soon as the first half or first quarter stats come out, I think it'll show that our shooting percentage is absolutely abysmal. And if it wasn't for the big guys, you know, it could be only 4 points.
Well, Tab made a comment in one of the post-game interviews the other day. He said sometimes it's not a question of not trying. Sometimes teams just try too hard, and in so doing, that leads to mistakes. And that might be what's happened here in the first period. New Zealand was certainly ready to go.
There, and there's on the screen there, Bob, you know, New Zealand's shooting percent is 6 for 23. You know,
well, that's about 25%. That's dismal, Jeff. It should be double that if we're going to win this ball game. And really, the shots that have been missed, apart from the threes, were about 4 layups. The ball was just sitting on the ring and fell off.
Well, China make a liar out of me, and they bring in Batir, so obviously he's not hurt. They just decided to go with Yao Ming straight away.
Well, we'll see if Batir can do the job, continue doing the job that Ming started. He set a pretty high standard, no pun intended. Start of the second period, Pearl Cameron with a 3, and again it doesn't go down, and Li Nan, number 10, the hot shooter, gets up and clears the boards. China looking pretty composed right now, not being hustled or bustled, and they're shooting extraordinarily well, Jeff.
You know, I see the Kiwis have gone back to that 3-2 zone now, and hopefully that'll stop the outside shooting of the Chinese, and we'll be able to protect that 3-point line.
Su from the baseline puts it up, it's short, and the shot clock goes off, so that's a turnover. Good defense from New Zealand.
That is good defense, Bob, and with the change in defense, they couldn't get the 3-point shot, so he had to take the ball off the dribble and pulled up for the 2. That was short, and of course the shot clock went off in the meantime.
Okay, this is the start of the comeback. Even I'm going to rip up, Jeff. I'm into this game now. Dylan Boucher, double teamed there, almost loses the ball. It goes into Rob Hickey, who goes against Batir. Nice move, and he draws a foul. Batir's laughing about it. He just can't believe where that call came from. Denver Nuggets player.
And here it is on the replay, Rob Hickey going underneath. Batir just waited.
Oh, yeah, Batir caught him on the elbow. Rob would have had a sweet, soft little jumper there. Don't know if it would have gone in, but
it would have been soft and sweet.
Okay. He makes the free throw. It's a 35-14 lead to China. Makes 1 of 2, and Batir just holds Pero Cameron away, doesn't bother to jump, and gathers in the rebound.
I've got to say, Bob, Batir makes Pero look like mini-me. He really does. And we all know how big boy Pero is.
Indeed. Well, Pero's got the body weight to contest with him. Now Batir is going to back in against him. He goes up, puts the left-hander. Rob Hickey swats the ball into the crowd. Good move from Rob.
Big Rob Hickey, he said, get it out of here, Batir. I don't care if you play in the NBA. Look at this on the replay. Backs Pero Cameron down. Big Rob gets it at the top of the flight of the basketball and throws it into row C, I would say.
Take it home, mate. Well, the shot at the buzzer doesn't drop. That was number 15.
That's 2 in a row.
Dufen.
That's 2 in a row, Bob, in terms of defensive plays. So that's good value from the Kiwis.
Indeed, Jeff. Here's our comeback. It started right now, a moment ago, in fact. When New Zealand stopped the offense, Phil Jones takes the pass, and that's about shot number 5. A clear look at the basket, and it didn't go down. We just got in the statistics. Field goal percentage for China in that first period was an incredible 80%. New Zealand shooting 26%. That's the story of the game.
Absolutely, and of course China is showing that, like, you know, from the three-point line, 86%, and of course the Kiwis were 0 for 5 from the three-point line in the first quarter.
From the corner. Well, that time, Wei Dong knocks it down. The three-point shooting from the Chinese team is incredible. Kiwis really have to put the clampers on them. They cannot afford to get too much further behind here. That's 7 three-pointers for the Chinese team already. And number 15 is fouled. Well, he's fouling Fenn. That's fouling Cameron. He goes to the hoop. There's the kick out and the three-point shot. I hate watching it. 7 times I've had to suffer that one. Ouch. 38-14. A lot of trouble here for the Kiwis. Phil Jones puts up a looping
There we go. Now we want to see some of that. And that's the first 3 of the game for the Kiwis. They're 1 for 6. But as long as the soft shooting is coming later in the game, Bob, I'm happy with this right now.
Well, offensively, New Zealand started to pick up a little bit, but we've got to make the gimme putts as well. Drive for show and putt for dough. All right, a Chinese player, number 15 it is, pushing. Fenn comes down the lane. That's his second foul, and Su is replaced by...
Now, here's an interesting move by Tab. You know, he's gone with a very, very small lineup. He's got both 7-footers, Rob Hickey and Ed Book, out of the game now, and he's gone with Paul Henare, Kirk Penny, Phil Jones, Pero Cameron, and of course Dylan Boucher. So this is an interesting move. Let's see how this develops here.
Well, it's foot speed versus height, I believe, and they're looking for Penny to join Phil Jones in the three-point shooting contest.
Dylan Boucher does exactly what he does
makes
every
a steal,
time.
gives it back to Penny. Sorry, that's Jones.
Phil Jones.
And he knocks it down. 2 three-pointers in a row from the reefed-in kid.
And look at him. He's rubbing his hands. He's just warming up. You see, he's not hot yet. He's just starting to get a bit comfortable with that basketball.
All right, New Zealand back to within 18 points. New Zealand on a 7-3 run here. Lee Nan gets caught in the lane, but kicks it back outside to number 15, Fenn, who makes it, and it's a 40-20 ball game. That was a 2-pointer, not a 3. He was hanging around a 3-point line. Short lineup of New Zealand going against China at the moment, trying to get free for 3s. They're going to live and die by the 3, I think, Jeff. Phil
They certainly are.
Jones. He's got 3 in a row. Here we go.
And there he goes, rubbing his hands again. He says, I'm not hot yet, guys. I'm not hot. Give me the ball. And look at him. He's just rubbing his hands, just getting warm. And we know in New Zealand basketball that Phil Jones can light it up. And when he's in that sort of a mood, watch out, China.
Lee Nan once again from the top, and he matches it. 3 for 3.
Oh, my goodness. Someone throw some water on that boy.
Kirk Penny from the sideline. It's a game of 3-pointers now. Shootout at the OK Corral, known as the Conseco Fieldhouse.
It's a shootout.
High noon has passed, but we've still got the gunslingers are still here, Jeff. 43-23. Lee Nan makes a good little move, and he gets Kirk Penny in the air, ducks in under him to collect the foul. That's going to be Penny's first foul. Well, New Zealand have to play with a little more hustle. The intensity's there, just not doing enough things right at the moment. Batir comes high. It's good substitution. I'm glad the Chinese coach put Batir in, because Yao Ming was chewing on us.
Oh, and there's an offensive foul. Batir just gave Pero Cameron, look at Pero. He just gave Pero Cameron a real Chinese welcome. Rather than a hungy, he gave him an elbow to the nose. Look.
Oh yes. Oh,
certainly
yes.
did. And because I'll need to talk to Batir at halftime, because like that's not how you hungy. It's not shoulder to nose.
Well, you teach him up, Jeff. Teach him well. Oh, and Dylan Boucher just knocked down one of the Chinese players on a...
Paulie Henare to the hole. And that was thanks Dylan Boucher, because he cleared Paulie's man out of the way.
Well, a little bit of physical play here coming from both teams. New Zealand back to within 18. It's a 43-27, 16-point, in fact.
But see, this is where I think the Kiwis were going to start off with this toughness. And Paul Hanratty has just shown that, you know, we're not going to muck around here, fighting over that screen, pushing away there. And this is what we saw the other day. The Chinese don't like this physical activity.
Well, we've got a long way to go with it. Now, Pero Cameron marking Batir. Watch the physical nature of this little contest. Batir, nice little fadeaway, shows his NBA class.
And he has got that fadeaway. We've seen it all week long. It is a lovely little fadeaway for such a big man.
Plays in the mile-high city of Denver and threw a nice mile-high shot there. Phil Jones with 3. It's there.
Phil's looked over and he says, I'm hot now. Believe me, I'm hot. He's feeling it.
Okay, Jeff, New Zealand back to within 15. There's good signs happening here. China has been kind of shoved out of their offense a bit. They're going to go to Batir once more. Batir backing in against Pero Cameron. Little danger of one of these big guys collecting another foul. Good shifting defense from New Zealand. A steal made by Kirk Penny. Phil Jones pulls up, feeds it in the corner, gets it back, and here's another 3.
Oh, yes! Phil Jones, the Chinese, they don't want to see any more of that.
Do we like it? Indeed we do. 45-33. New Zealand back to within 12. Hey, we've got a ball game. 4:09 left in the first half, and New Zealand calls for a timeout.
And Phil said he's not done yet. He's still heating up. What's that? His 5th three-pointer?
That's it.
5 3-pointers from the Reefton kid, Phil Jones. And of course, what you know what's happened there, Bob? It's a 20-3 run with behind Phil's 5 3-pointers, but it's the defense. You know, they started to rough the Chinese up a bit, and that's what I said at the top of the show. If we can get physical with these guys, I believe they'll step away, and they have stepped away. All they've done now is got the ball into Batir, the big fella, and he's had to do all the work. The shooters are sort of gone a little cold. You know, no one's looking to drive, and that last one, they did go to the basket, but the hands of the Kiwis, the elbows were in there, and we got right in their face. I believe that's the game plan for us to keep physical, and let's go. And you know, with 4 minutes to go, China now in the bonus. That means the Kiwi are going to be shooting every time.
Well, that's right, Jeff. Another good sign. I think New Zealand has thrown the Chinese team out of their offensive pattern. Why would you keep going into Menk Batir when you've got 2 guys with such a hot hand from the 3-point line? Suddenly they're starved of the ball. Everything's going into the big man, and I hate to say it, well, I don't mind saying it, he's not quite the offensive power that Yao Ming is.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how now the Chinese, you know, react to this onslaught by the Kiwis, because, like, you know, the Chinese were looking comfortable at 23-point lead. You know, they're now down to 12, 4 to go in the half. You know, the Kiwis are really relaxed on this bench right now. We're right behind the tall black bench. You know, Tab is very relaxed and talking to the team. The guys are, you know, they're focused. They understand what needs to happen. I'll tell you what, Kirk Penny gets going, Pero Cameron gets going from the outside. The Chinese are going to be in for a long, long night. And there's the replay of Phil Jones' 5th three-pointer, and he was at least 2 feet away from the 3-point line then.
Now, if the folks from Reefton would just make a little bit of noise, that would help us no end here. We're back to within 12, so fire up down there in Reefton. Let's hear it. 4:09 left in the first half. New Zealand were 23 points in arrears early on here. 5 for 6. Phil Jones from the 3-point line. Now, here we go. Full court pressure. We're going to wear them out, wear them down. That's the strategy now. And see if we can make a few steals. Lee Nan being hounded by Kirk Penny. Players switching every time a pick is set. They're talking, communicating, switching. And it goes to Batir once again. Now, he takes steps before he backs in, but once again, the referees just refuse to call it.
But look at that turnaround jumper. You know, that's pure NBA stuff every time he does that.
Well, it's a long road still. New Zealand have got the machine going. They're just going to have to keep it going. Pero Cameron goes around Batir. He's inside. He's going to have to put up a hook shot. Nice little fadeaway. Just doesn't drop, and the ball comes down to China. Fast break here.
Now, that's good defense by the Kiwis. They got back, covered the 3-point threat, and now China have to go into their half set. It'll go down to Batir.
China being very patient here. And a foul is going to be on Pero Cameron. That'll be his second, I believe. We don't like to see that, but somebody's got to match up with Batir. Very, very big man. Number 4, the point guard, comes back in, Xiao Ben.
And of course, Tab's seen something that he doesn't like, and he's called a timeout immediately. And we've only had 2 phases of play since the last timeout, so obviously Tab is about to make an adjustment.
3:09 left in the first half. China lead 47-33, and the chess game continues.
Okay, so now the adjustment is being made. Tab has just told Phil Jones, if you're on that side of the court where the ball goes down low to Batir, go down and double. So they're going to take the gamble now that the Chinese shooters are out of their rhythm, get the ball down low to the big guy, kick it out, and make him kick the ball out to the shooter. So I think that's a good strategy.
Well, they have to, Jeff. They've got to do something. That if Batir gets into a bit of a rhythm and he's calling for the ball every time, I'm a little surprised because I think their three-pointers are pretty hot. It could be lights out for the Kiwis.
Back to the corner, but if he comes up here and we double down, we've got to rotate here and you've got to go. Okay? You got to play in there.
He's holding it for ages, guys. There's no excuse now. There's no excuse.
All right, let's get that double there. We're doubling on the dribble.
Okay, and there we go. Tab has just said we're going to double down when the ball is in the corner. We're going to double down when the ball is in the wing, and everyone else has to rotate around to help with that double team. So that's good strategy, and that's exactly why Tab called that timeout. He saw that the ball was going to go every time into Batir, and we're just going to see. We're now going to try and force the Chinese shooters to get hot again. And like, you know, they were so hot at the beginning of the ball game in the first quarter. You know, they shot 86% from the three-point line. They've gone cold because the ball has gone through the big guys down low. Now we'll see whether they're able to step up. I believe they won't.
I like your confidence, Jeff Green. Here we go. Play about to resume here. 3 minutes to play. 3 minutes and 9 seconds to be exact in the second period. Not a big crowd here, and the Kiwi contingent a little bit quiet. I'd like them to rev up a bit as well. Phil Jones hits another three-pointer. They will. You'll hear it. We won't need to call it. Phil Jones, the hot hand so far for the Kiwis. He's leading all scores with 21 points. Li Nan for China has 17. These two have put on a shooting display. Excellence. Oh, Chinese player left all alone. That's number 15, Du Fen, who gets the easy 2 points. Just a mismatch. Somebody lost their man, and it leads to an easy 2 points for China. Kiwi sticking with their picking, hustling, set offense here. Dickel back out to Pero Cameron. Kirk Penny goes to the hoop, and once again the ball is on the ring and just doesn't go down. I hate to see it. That's about 6 times. That's probably 12 points we're missing there, Jeff. From the corner, finally, one of these players misses a three-pointer. Kirk Penny at the other end. He's marked by Batir now. He's all alone in the corner, and he's got it. Here we go.
That's what we want. Of course, Kirk gave up the play before. He gave up the three-pointer to take the ball down Bloody Nose Lane, and he did that. And of course, we got a hand on the offensive board, but that was a good stroke by Kirk Penny. Good signs for the Kiwis, both Phil Jones and Kirk Penny heating up.
Well, their confidence is up now. They're both hit 2 or 3 shots. Phil Jones has hit 5, in fact. Now, Jones, you see double teaming Batir, and the Chinese have to kick it back outside. There's 2 seconds on the shot clock, and Li Nan finally misses one.
Oh, they've got
third foul on Pero Cameron. If we see it again, you'll see Pero shoving Batir under the basket, the elbow in the back, Jeff. I think it's a good call. Unfortunate, though it is.
Yeah, no, unfortunately, here we go. Li Nan shoots the ball. We're not going to see Pero push in the back, but he clearly did from our angle. And, of course, Pero's got himself a trip to the bench, but he's done a good job. You know, 1:49 left in the half. I think it's a good job for our guys.
Well, Ed Book is going to have to do the job now. The Chinese, the shot clock was reset on that, so they've got plenty of time to play with possession here. Shot goes up, and Batir just reaches over Ed Book and hauls it out of the air. Now he's backing in against Book. Penny comes down to help out, and Li Nan's got another one. That was from 5-point territory.
That's a killer. That is a killer.
That's 6 for Li Nan. Ed Book in the paint, spins, little hook shot, and finally he gets one. Okay, now even the small ones, the short ones are going to start dropping, Jeff. 52-38, it's a 14-point lead to China. New Zealand can score another couple, get back to within 10 or 12. We're in good shape.
15 offensive charge on the Chinese guy, and he got Phil with a great one right there. Here's the last three-pointer. Li Nan, look how far out he was, Bob.
Well, the NBA three-point line is about 1.5 feet further back than the
and here we
FIBA
go.
one.
Oh, there.
Yep.
Feng Du just got, Du Fen, sorry, just got the Reefton kid with a great elbow to the mush.
And Phil Jones, normally quite a composed player, had a few words to say to him after that. Mind you, nobody's nose can take too much of that. Kirk Penny, it's there. Good drive from Kirk down bloody nose lane. He pulled up straight. The defensive player kept going, and it allowed him to drop that little two-pointer. 52-40, 39 seconds left in the first half. Good defense now from
The magical 10. Oh, and
And
out of
China.
bounds. Out of bounds, Bob. This is what we're looking for, the magical 10 at halftime. The Kiwis can score here with 36 to go, have a good defensive play. That was a lovely move by Kirk Penny down bloody nose lane, and we had two guys on the offensive board.
Yep, Patir was very smart there. He didn't challenge Penny. He certainly didn't want to get a cheap foul tagged on him with 30 seconds left to go in the half. That's a three-pointer. Here we come.
The 10. We've got within the 10. That's what we want. Good defensive play now by the Kiwis.
52-43. China had problems here. Dylan Boucher makes a steal. Sparky Dickel has it. Plenty of time. 7 seconds. The Kiwi team on their feet, including my vision here. It's hard to see, but Penny has it. He launches it. It just hits the ring. It doesn't go down. At the end of a long road back, New Zealand within 9 points. China leading 52-43 at halftime, Jeff.
And I've got to say, Bob, it was exactly what we thought that would happen. Some rough and tumble with the Kiwis on their Chinese defence. The Chinese have all of a sudden gone away. You know, New Zealand are on a 30-17 run. They've done exactly what we wanted them to do. Hustle and bustle on the offensive board. That last shot there, we saw 3 guys, white shirts on the offensive board. That's what we need.
Okay, stay with us. It won't be long, and we'll be back for the second half of the Kiwis going against China.